You probably heard about the recent measles outbreak in the United States. I mean, it's pretty well fucking impossible not to have heard about it. You probably have one or two friends on Facebook or Twitter or, real life, going on about it and getting into arguments. The outbreak of measles has also caused an outbreak of anti-vaxxers, which I thought were laughed off the internet after Jenny McCarthy claimed vaccines gave her son autism, and people were siding with a B-grade actress and former Playboy model that believes in the supernatural and being an indigo mother, instead of doctors who believe in peer-reviewed scientific research and years of medical training. And this is the real problem. The problem isn't that people aren't getting vaccinated, although clearly that is a potential problem. Over 600 cases in the US last year compared to much lower numbers in the last 10 or so years. But that's 600 cases of the measles, and the measles is treatable now. No deaths were reported. 644 people to be exact, out of 311 million. That's around 0.0002% of the population. The real problem is that people have decided that instead of listening to doctors, they're listening to celebrities and people on Facebook with no credentials. Here are some facts. The measles vaccine was introduced in 1963. Coincidentally, in the early to mid-1960s, an average of 300,000 to 500,000 measles cases were reported. By 1968, that number dropped to well under 50,000. And with the exception of a few flare-ups and an outbreak in the 90s, it was basically eliminated. Some people believe these two events are completely unrelated, that measles just went away on their own. We all became immune to it in a matter of years. Despite this type of evolution never happening naturally in this short of a time frame, this is what people believe happened. So, okay, you're not going to convince these people that vaccines are beneficial. Every time there is an outbreak, most of the people that get measles are not vaccinated, but to be fair, some are. So to some people, that means it just simply doesn't work. A mindset that can't be changed. And the autism thing? That's been proven false by numerous organizations, including the CDC and the UK's National Health Service. But they're not an article by the alternative media on the internet, written by people with either zero or very questionable credentials, so they're wrong. And you know what? These fucking studies change so often, maybe I will look like the fucking idiot eventually. After all, every other month it seems there's a new study about whether or not milk is good for you. I think this week it's bad for you, but check back next week and that might change. But you know who I'm gonna trust more than the internet? Actual doctors. I was immunized. I've had all sorts of shots. Measles, mumps, hepatitis, tetanus, all that shit. And despite what a bunch of morons on the internet believe because I make fun of pop music, I'm not autistic. Therefore, immunizations do not cause autism. At best, they have a risk of giving your child autism, but again, doctors and scientists have currently proved that wrong. And you know what though? I'm happy to admit I don't know shit about this stuff. You know why? Because I'm not a doctor. I went to school for radio broadcasting. The last class I learned about health in school included a segment where my gym teacher rolled a condom onto a wooden cock. So, you know who I go to when I have a question about my health? Celebrities? No. A doctor. Because that's their lives. People like Jenny McCarthy are not doctors. Mike Adams of naturalnews.com? Not a doctor. The editor of whatever blog you read that said vaccinations are bad? Probably not a doctor. And if they are, I'd like to see the diploma from the med school they graduated from. But again, we're back to the real problem. More people aren't willing to admit that they're not doctors and that they don't know shit. The internet is a major source of frustration for actual doctors, the ones that went to accredited schools for years to earn their PhDs. You got assholes diagnosing themselves on WebMD and showing up to their pediatricians to tell them what they should be prescribed. You get a population of mouth breathers that would listen to a celebrity for no other reason than, they're famous, so they must know more than me. And you've got this mindset of, well, I'm not letting a doctor tell me what's best for my family. I read something on the internet that said something was bad. Right now, it's just a few hundred measles cases, but that could change. So stop listening to people on the internet about this shit. Don't listen to me about medical stuff. Listen to your doctor. I personally feel as though it should be the parents' choice and right as to how they raise their children. Seems like the govern me nod is trying to bully into like-mindedness. Yes, they're bullying people by trying to stop a disease that used to infect hundreds of thousands of people a year from doing so again. Fucking bullies. But you're right. It should be the parents' choice. They should be allowed to raise a disease-carrying pigeon and ignore doctors. But they should also have to live with certain consequences of those choices. Like doctors who don't want to take patients that don't listen to them. Or schools that don't want to take your plague rat of a child. You're not the only person that lives on this planet. I know that's a really hard concept for some of you to wrap your heads around, but it's a truth that no celebrity or self-proclaimed expert can refute. You are one of 7 billion people. Start fucking acting like it.